in order and stand.
With allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Anything else anybody's got for the agenda?
I will make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
Motion and second to approve the agenda. Any more discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And the meeting minutes are sent out.
Correction to the minutes, if you look at the very bottom of them, the sheriff's office donation, it never. It says approve / deny, we need to remove the / deny, it was approved.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Motion to approve the minutes. Any more discussion? Not all in favor of approving the minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Warrants are sent out.
Oh, from Carl, Bill is also under the weather and won't be at today's meeting. Oh, man. Bill.
Motion to the warrants.
Second.
Motion to approve the warrants. Any more discussion? Anybody got any discussion on any of them? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Matt, I had someone ask about deer crossing signs on 10 on both sides of the woods.
Well, typically I've never put those up. Because where do they go?
Well, and
The deer or the sign?
Both, both.
And realistically, that whole stretch of 10, I mean, all the way from 78, 79 could have. I am relaying the request I had. And I think once we get permanent vegetation established, cause it's those hillsides. So they must have, their cover seating must have been something that is a very big attractant.
A lot of oaks in there.
Cause yeah, you get right around dark and they're on those hillsides pretty hard.
Don't nobody over there, huh?
Well, you can only shoot so many.
Not year round.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I think they do a little of that too.
You can go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, good morning, commissioners. I got two items on the agenda for you. The first item we'll go through is the bids on CASA 54 and CASA 2 culvert replacement. This is in conjunction with the ditch 3 project that's going to be going on. We did receive bids last week. We got a total of 8 bids. It's kind of surprising. The low bidder was Joe Riley Construction in the amount of $420,435.57. Roughly about 12% under what we estimated the cost would be. So I guess my recommendation would be to award the bids to Joe Riley Construction in the amount of $420,435.57.
So moved.
I'll second that.
A motion and a second, any more discussion?
There's a typo in your last line.
Yep, there is. My checker wasn't working.
All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Carried.
Okay, and the second one I have is bids for our 2025 traffic marking project. We did receive 3 bids, which is nice because it was down to 1 bidder for the past few years. So we did get a little bid from Camco Incorporated in the amount of $53,012.59. It's about 15% below what we estimated, which is good to see. So we'd recommend awarding the contract to Camco or awarding the bids to Camco Incorporated. And this project will be in conjunction with another one. This year is the federal HSIP edge line striping project, which is every other year, and Becker County is in charge of it this year. So we'll be getting edge line striping, and this will be supplemental to that, doing center line and other roads that aren't on that project. So
So do you rotate on the roads doing the striping or just go around and?
well,
See where
typically it just depends. Normally I work with the maintenance staff since they drive the roads the most, try to get a feel for what roads are going to need it, and then we go from there. Whereas with the federal project, that's just every other year.
So how many miles do they do, will they be doing?
Oh, I think this was like, top of my head, I think we're going 800 and some thousand feet of striping. So, I don't know, roughly, probably 50 miles in there somewhere that we're gonna be striping on this project. Probably same amount on the other one too.
I'll make that motion to approve, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
So
Thank
Matt, that culvert down there, the first one we did, when would they get onto that, you think?
The one on 54 and 2?
Yeah.
I'm not sure yet. We will be having a meeting with Joe Riley here on Thursday for the pre-construction meeting for County Road 34. So I'll have a chat with them on Thursday and get a feel for when they think they're gonna do the project. And we'll also be having a pre-construction meeting on for County Road 43 as well on the same day on Thursday.
So them pipes are coming out and different ones going in there? Or they
Yep, the one will come out on 54 and we'll take that pipe and
put
move
it on
to
two?
two, and there'll be a new pipe under 54.
Cause I know they did some, like a week or so ago down south of Chicago or Alberta, they put a pipe in down there,
Oh. South of Alberta,
somewhere down there.
it's a long ways away for me to go check out.
And but there was a fair amount of frost too, that's why.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be a pretty while, cause we still gotta do up contracts and stuff, so it'll be at least a month before they even think about getting started. So. All I had, thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
We can do this low plains drifters resolution.
It's just passing the money, I'm assuming like normal.
Yeah. Be it resolved, the Grant County act as a legal sponsor for application for funding of the State of Minnesota Department of Natural Resources for snowmobiling and snowmobile trails managed by the Low Plains Drifters. We've done this for quite a few years, I think.
Motion to approve, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Motion and second, any more discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And then, WCI's EDD board appointment.
Mr. Chair, last meeting there, I was a little confused. I had those two mixed around. That was the right form that we had 2 weeks ago. But, so I called up there and clarified all that, so. So that form, the EDD form, that's the one we have to fill out. And appoint somebody to take my spot on there, cause I did my 6 years. So,
Bill was gonna do that, wasn't he?
well, that was, I think, somebody made the motion to have to do that.
Ken and I thought he should.
Yeah.
Did you, did they send anything? So you, we got there was a form to fill out?
Yes, I think,
It's in there.
I think it will be in the packet there, I think.
Yeah, yep.
You make the motion or the second? Well, you made the motion last time, you should make it this time.
I think he'll take it.
You can't continue.
No, 6 years, we didn't know it. That's why it's 3-4 months into the new year.
You probably can coach him up.
Yeah, it's,
I'd make that motion. I'll second.
Oh, what's your motion now?
Nominate Bill Valley.
Okay,
then I'd be willing to, if Bill had something that he didn't wanna do, but to take one of his, spots. If-
Well, it may not be a want, there may be a conflict.
Yeah, so, yeah. Well, I'll talk to him about it.
all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Opposed? Carried.
So then, Carl, you can fill that one.
Yeah, him and Bill and whoever. Okay, we got some sealed bids.
One thing. One.
This is John's Lawn Care. Monthly lawn mowing and trimming at the courthouse. Monthly lawn mowing, trimming, social services. Tree shrub trimming courthouse. Single service. It just one time, and edging in the courthouse one time. Tree and shrub trimming, social service one time. For a total of $3,060.
Mr. Chair, can we open like, so where we have, well, any of them, but can we have copies made so we can all see them?
Sure.
That's, cleaning. That's, cleaning.
Thank you, Jeremy. You bet.
Maybe I missed it, but was there any snow removal bids?
Well.
I think maybe on the.
There was, yeah,
I didn't
that
look
one's
at-
installed.
I think some of them were combined and some were.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I think, yeah, some of them combined, some are just.
They're mostly done. Oh, I was feeling like we wanted to eat that there like April. One, it's like, dude. You're gonna be in the field and that time, whatever. But he's got a couple of interns that are starting, like, when we can do them. Oh, that's pretty good. Oh, they saying really one day, it doesn't matter. You know, like, well, I haven't previously. So they were, first step, they were doing what potential stop. Yeah. Which I don't even know, like, it's a Calgary. The Belgrade has their own in-house. I don't know why. There was.
get loader fuel up
You got the flowing back, leaf blowing.
There's guys out there.
on pickup or what?
And
You know, I kind of, 3 weeks ago, I kind of, busted it out of that.
if they get into it like this fall.
The main frame, you know, where the center pivot for the feet
And I just. Oh, yeah, they got.
broke
All
right
that's
off,
Paul, we go meet with their manager.
pulled the.
You're not supposed to move trees out of the way.
The reality is.
Not all I did.
Doing this and their other.
I didn't hit anything real hard, but it rolled, caught it where it rolled that.
They always say.
Deep fall forward and the springs is supposed to pop it back. When it popped back.
No, they're expanding, growing.
Deep bomb moved over 6 inches, pulled that hydraulic.
And
pulled
Hope
off,
County
last
last year, the year before.
We had to buy a main frame for it, which was still between. Started back on, they want. Fine,
And they were, put it on, I just plant right.
about 2 weeks before that, I hit something pretty hard. I wonder if I didn't crack it. It was a water shut off. And it moved up on the road.
So the frost,
Yeah.
is like, that, that's probably not correct. But yeah, so I put that on. that piece of that, it costs you $150. And then I think it's gonna snow again. I'm looking at your forecast.
Well, 500.
Yeah, I mean, all. So it's sitting out on the coast, like, but it's a deep fall.
In, it was like February, it wasn't going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah.
But it was not in field condition.
Well, we had used the moisture, I could use an inch checker.
From that news.
You'll be able to make a snowman when you get home.
Jim Berlinger.
Yeah. Not interested, huh?
No.
You will.
But no, Glacier Plains.
Are they?
They're on the dirt bike.
Yeah.
They'll barely be able to spin around in the snow.
Does Harvey run on the third bike yet?
Service.
He kinda warmed up to me.
but
He knows, I said, you know who I am, don't you? I see him. I said, "Boy, I know he had another young guy with him." I said, I think we're gonna go.
Don't be leading them astray.
No, well, he kinda.
Teaching you bad habits.
My, seventh and eighth graders yesterday, though, they were not very attentive at baseball practice. I said, well, boys, you're not being attentive. I'm trying to show you how to bunt here. and You're having that. You're gonna have to do some running tonight.
So we're walking around.
Do you run through that or not?
Don't find me.
You'll probably get them.
But that would be a little better, I think.
Well, you won't be on.
That's a lot.
We were out yesterday, though. It needed to be too, because I had my outfielders out there. I go, I thought to myself, we're gonna do all of them, the bad news bears out there. I did them fly balls, you know. So why don't you use both hands instead of?
Yeah, I'll keep this one.
So, you know, maybe keep the ball in your glove there. They're pretty good. Especially the eighth graders.
Like all the last time they called.
They're pretty advanced because, well, they played a little longer. But like I told those
Which is-
eighth graders, I said, "Yeah, you guys are pretty good. You're gonna need those seventh graders. When you get the sophomores, juniors and seniors. You're gonna need them, so. Go on the road. But you can't win with seven guys. The ball seems to find a hole. But I enjoy doing that, but I'm gonna retire now. It's just. You get pushing 70 years
Yeah,
old.
I think that would.
You know, you gotta have them.
Spend more time with your girlfriends or what?
Well, that would be scary too.
Jeff, Keeler, I think.
No, it just comes to time. I signed up for 1 year, it's been, yeah.
What's 5 more?
But he ran.
Well, you were a sheriff, you know, so.
Yeah,
See, I think.
yeah, that's true.
Maybe.
You didn't sign up for however many years for that or?
Well, yeah, I was 38 when I got elected, or when I started, so. Yeah, it was 22 years.
So we're not adding anything there, right? Cause they're already doing.
I'd do that again, though, I mean,
And I think, and facility wise, it don't.
Well, hey, you would, but I don't know if the county could handle it.
well, they probably wouldn't elect.
I haven't seen that machine there.
But you know, in 22 years, well, to be pretty, everything, it goes so fast because you're under the gun.
I don't
You
know
get,
what they, you know.
you know, new reports come in and you gotta get these done. Yeah.
You could get anything.
You can't be like by hand or?
I don't make copies, find the way.
Okay, let's see, we can do
So Ashley, that
this is the cleaning contract,
if somebody had to get the high school diploma, that is, that maybe I was 40, you know.
and these are two of the mowing contracts. Well, of course, these are one page. We got one more multiple page coming.
They have to allow.
I'm gonna tell one first thing like that, they're really super intelligent, they just didn't go to college.
But then I decided that.
We look at experience and.
Yeah. Yeah, you got a good people, you know. But
When you get it.
I got two of these,
I'll leave one down.
oh, for Billy,
Sorry about that.
Just one of these. Yeah. There's none for,
One for these.
well, we don't have any for that.
Thought I had a whole stack of these. These.
Yeah, there's two different ones.
Oh, there is. Okay.
So when we talk about this building, we're talking about this over here, right, a portion of this.
There is a small L shape that butts up against Justin's property.
But that's already covered under a contract, isn't it?
I already have, yeah, Brody
Yep,
that mows that, does the whole thing at once.
right, I mean,
Doesn't-
that's, that was already covered, so we wouldn't necessarily need, I mean, it's in here, but.
Mhm.
Cause that was done, you know, unless Justin was looking to change, correct me if I'm wrong, but that was done so that it was all done uniformly.
Yes,
So should we be bidding that or not? Okay.
It's
It's a fairly small.
right, and
Portion.
it's in here now, I think, you know, that.
Did we, in the RFP, request the tree in front work?
That's what landscaping, it was trimming. But not like, yeah, no, I don't think that'll landscaping.
Ed Jean, that was part of it.
What?
Ed Jean,
Yes.
one that the courthouse includes the sheriff's department, you see that?
Well, I would operate under the assumption that yes, it would include the courthouse ground, which historically has included the north of the courthouse, right?
Yes.
Did it on the
I believe
RFP?
Carl talked to all that were interested. He did some walk around the courthouse with individuals.
I did a walk around with both Grow Green and also John of the courthouse. I did that for I explained the snow area and I also explained the grass cutting area and the boundaries.
With this Carl?
Yeah.
So Carl, in your estimation, and when it says monthly lawn mowing and trimming courthouse, your estimation would be that includes the law enforcement center and the area west of that, that's just the law enforcement piece?
Yes, that included all the way back around the law enforcement. Currently, what it was currently being mowed is what they were to put a bid in for. So when the law enforcement grass gets put in place and um, growing, that's when when it's ready to be cut, they will start cutting that. Grow Green also stated that they had some temporary hoses that if they got the bid, they would be willing to loan to us that hook right into the faucets on the LEC. And then it would automatically go on a timer system to water the grass when it needs to be watered.
You mean to get it
Just-
started?
Just to get it started, yes.
How important is it that Mr. Chair, or others in the room, that we determine and award these bids today? Especially the lawn and the snow.
Well, I don't think we would have to do it today.
Snowing right now?
Yeah, I understand. And the reason I mention it is we got a lot of information as should we apply some analytics to this to see how this relates to if we were gonna hire somebody to replace what we did in the past. And I don't know what the analytics are. And some of these bids, I mean, it's gonna require, because we got some bids that are per time and some monthly and I don't know that I would be comfortable to weigh in on it without spending some time on them.
Carl did a calculation, I don't know if Carl, you wanna speak to this, but it was, the loaded rate was 108,000. Did that include, Carl, the repair costs and things like that to our equipment? But that didn't include all the extras, like the landscaping, not clearing that out, including any irrigation, any of those extra costs. Were included.
They were or they weren't?
They were. But that loaded rate. With repairs. And things that we
It wasn't really a loaded rate, it was, that was the annual expense for the employee, the
Right. Yep.
piece of equipment, the fuel, the.
Mhm.
So, Jeff, you haven't seen this, have you? I'll go back to my question slash comment. Would it be appropriate to have Mr. Merrick reviewing these to see maybe some of this would be considered in his wheelhouse and he assumes to probably do some of them. And so I'm not comfortable opening these bids and within 15 minutes or 20 minutes weighing in on. That's just Ken.
Well, there is a lot of stuff, I mean.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair.
Yep.
I agree with Ken there, but you know, we gotta go over all this because we make a decision today. You know, this guy says he's gonna do this one says they're gonna do that, this one says they're gonna do this. And, we need to look at this, and I like the idea of Jeff and maybe the county coordinator and one commissioner, take a look at all this stuff and see what looks the best. But to make a decision today, I think we'd be getting behind the 8 ball down the road.
So you mentioned Dwight having someone from the board and Jeff and the coordinator prior to the new or current. And I would agree with you, and they come back then with a recommendation and some of the analytics. As it applies to going this route or the other.
Why don't we just have a building committee sit
I was
down?
gonna say either the building committee or the personnel committee.
Yeah.
Seems like the.
Well, we know what the dollar figure from the personnel standpoint was.
Then that makes sense, you're right.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
We have committee to that.
Yeah, we can table it.
Because, I mean, to me, there's questions like the one from Chad, where it references the 990, is that for doing the back? And the other amount is just I have questions I would like to ask. So how do we do that then, Justin? Do we just keep a record of all the bids, being we've got these and we've opened them? We just keep a record of them in like the minutes and come back in 2 weeks? Yeah, I think we should be able to come back in 2 weeks and for the
We don't have any
recommendation.
action on it, do we? Okay.
We only did get one on the cleaning.
So what's happening with that now?
I'm doing it.
We can handle that in 2 more weeks, or do we need to award that?
I have to.
I mean,
Hopefully Mother Nature will cooperate.
do we look all, or rather than, I mean, the bids are closed, so we're not gonna get more, we're not gonna.
Well, if one of your questions was contracting it versus hiring. We don't wanna go awarding a contract and turn around in 2 weeks and say, well, no, we were just kidding.
Yeah, for that reason, then I agree with you 100%, we should delay them all.
Cause all the originals are here, so.
You need a motion to that, Mr. Chairman?
Well, we just
What's
Yeah.
on the agenda, let's table it.
table it till the 15th.
And do we have building or personnel?
I think it's good. You say building, correct?
I think so.
Yeah, I do too.
If they need to work with personnel, then the dollars comparative to hiring, then
Building, that's you and Bill, Troy?
And Jeff,
Okay. Table that until the 15th and we'll move on to the sheriff. He's not coming or,
I don't think so.
okay,
Didn't sound like it.
for the, Cowell Lake City contract for law enforcement.
There was one change from all the other standard contracts in that, correct me if I'm wrong, the city of Elk Lake doesn't wanna be responsible for initiating.
I don't know if that changes later.
John said it was. That Elk Lake doesn't wanna be in charge of initiating negotiations.
Right. These are both the same, right?
I believe so.
Yes, those are both the same contract, yep.
let me ask you, Troy, initiating negotiations in subsequent years or within the contract year? Current. What's negotiations?
So, I mean, in reality, they didn't initiate them, cause it must have said that, but. I mean, we approved last July, we approved a contract price for 25, so reality, we initiated it then anyway. And that's. But we're looking at completely redoing, we had a meeting with the clerk and. If things went well with negotiations, like I'm kind of hoping it would, that becomes. There really is, I mean, we're hoping for a perpetual contract where we would give them a price early in the year and then they would just let us know how they want to do it. If they want out, they gotta let us know by X date. We give them a price by X date. If there's a problem, they give us a notice by whatever date.
So the last contract we reviewed said the payment may be made quarterly. Which didn't happen with.
One maybe made 1/12.
Or 1/12, maybe it was, excuse me, monthly. So is that addressed? And are they gonna get 11.5 month terms?
No, we brought it up to the clerks that it would be quarterly. Now, that's the clerks, it's not a final contract, but.
Oh, are we gonna agree that it needs to be the monthly or quarterly?
Well, that's a contract that we don't have in front of us.
Right, that's what we're gonna talk to them.
Oh, okay. For subsequent years or current year?
Subsequent years.
So how about 2025?
The payment language did not change.
Say that again,
The payment language did not change.
but how about the payment expectation?
Yes, I haven't had any conversations with the city about the payment expectations. I don't know, John, answer.
Well, I'm against leaving one city be able to finance their contract for 11.5 months and the rest pay at a different rate. That's just not fair. And it's $4,000 to $5,000 worth of interest, and I don't know how you do the analytics.
And I'm not ready or willing to go back and start this all over, because we do that there, then realistically, we need to go back to all the towns. Even though some of them are already paying. So I'll make a motion to approve the agreement with the city of Little Lake. And in the future, we'll correct that.
I mean, it says in here. Monthly installments is what it says, right? Yeah,
So we're willing to, I mean, and I don't think there's even bills sent out, actually, I think it's just paid, so I mean, that's on us as much as anything.
I'll second Troy's motion.
have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Mr. Chair, I'd like the official minutes to reflect that our expectation is that they pay either monthly or quarterly like the other cities in the county.
Do we know, how every one of our contract towns are paying?
Some of them pay monthly, some of them pay quarterly, one pays annually.
Okay.
So it's all over, I mean, it's all over, and that's on us because it's not spelled out better, so.
But we can get at that now. Next year will come real fast.
Right, so one thing that was brought up in that meeting with the clerks is the environmental services they bill, I believe, quarterly, but they just sent out the whole year's worth of bills. They didn't actually send them out because it's the same amount, just broke out into 4, right?
Right.
So they just sent all of them for the whole year, so then it becomes.
Yeah.
But yeah, currently there's not bills being sent out, so it's just the cities are paying whenever.
Well, we got $21 some million budget. If we can't figure out how to properly bill for services, we got an IT problem.
I just don't think anybody ever looked at it before. I think we can do it.
Yeah, and I do that. I think, I mean, it's obviously a goal, but I think standard, it's just not right. And it's okay to be fair.
And we got 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
20 minutes.
I don't know. I know.
You gotta fill that 20 minutes.
I do have one.
Thank you.
Right, Mr. Chair, I do have one question on, these bids here, that just popped into my head. The one bid had a monthly rate for snow removal. That's one thing we have to decide. Are you gonna contract with them for snow removal, whether it snows or not? Or are you gonna go by the hour if it does snow? See,
There's your $1 million dilemma.
Yep.
Is my history with snow removal is. When I first got on Barrett, it was done.
on a yearly.
Well, it was done, there was a retainer. And the one who did the plowing worked his retainer off. On an hourly rate, and the other one who did the hauling. Had a retainer that was not, that was just it, and then it was billable hourly after that. Then when we switched providers to do all of it, he went to. A set amount for, I believe it was 45 inches of snow, and then it's $400 an inch above that. So, do you want the hourly rate? Do you want the monthly rate? The monthly rate is way easier to budget.
Because the amount is there. Yeah.
Ashley, how do you want?
See, that's down in the metro,
Comment.
the snow removal guys, they're bidding, you're gonna pay X amount of dollars.
No
Whether
matter
it
what.
snows or not,
Yeah,
and they're hoping for a light year that way.
Well, like what Barry had, yeah, it's 18 grand a year for the 6 months. And then if it is over that 45 inches, then it's
Yeah,
$400 an inch, but it's not payable until the next budget year.
I see.
So you can budget, so you never really have a budget buster
Yeah, you're
because you have time to budget it.
Yeah, put it on next year, yeah.
Right, but I mean, we're not being offered that
No.
scenario, but. Yeah, I mean, from a budgeting standpoint with winters, because the last 2 winters, you take it in the shorts if you do a monthly.
Right,
we're not
But if
done
you
yet.
take 23, you'd wanna have a monthly rate.
yep, yeah.
We're not done yet, though. We might have snow till May.
You're sure?
The one thing I'm not for sure I'm in favor of is an hourly rate. Cause I've seen how they can go.
We're not talking about a co-op here now.
Are we in recess or just like a little?
I don't know.
Oh, we're-
You guys gotta do stuff, you do it, I'll be back.
Yeah. No, I'm still not convinced that we shouldn't have we'll see how the figures come, but I'm not convinced we shouldn't have another full-time guy doing this, but because when we need some, that's my thought, just. Cause there's,
That's why I wanna see the analytics,
Yeah.
I hope I was okay with, it's just too much.
No, we can't, yeah,
For me, I
don't
there's
want
no
maybe
way
you
you can
to-
make the decision.
I don't wanna state something to them about it today.
yeah,
No,
I,
There's no way, because we gotta just figure this all out, so.
it was spinning in my head. Of
Yeah,
Yeah, but,
I mean, they're,
course, that don't take much, right?
right. Well, you said it, I didn't.
What time we gotta be back by?
3:30,
10-15.
10:15.
What was on this, or public hearing, or?
No, just, we gotta wait a while. They're not here, government,
Oh, yeah.
I wonder,
environmental services.
if, Billy there, he must have been really sick, because he could have jumped on line, right?
Yeah.
He must be.
Greg promised me he was gonna come and entertain you guys during the gap.
What was that?
Greg said before these next people are coming on, he said, well, maybe Reed and I can come entertain the board for a little while.
Okay,
But I see he didn't do that.
no,
Well, yeah.
Carl, is that Carl? Carl, is that you?
Yep.
talking?
Yep.
So what kind of, how are you feeling?
I feel like I'm above dirt right now, and I'm happy I'm above dirt.
You got,
Once the walk-in clinic gets open, I'm going there, so.
are you achy, or are you just feeling terrible? All over.
I move, I walk 10 steps and I sweat like crazy, and I got a cough, and I don't know. Sounds like Bill and I have the exact same thing, so.
Yeah, that's not good.
You keep talking to Dr. Dwight, he'll get you fixed up.
Well, the reason I asked is back in, about the 20th of December, I had those same symptoms and I had COVID, so. Wasn't good.
Yeah, I don't know. My whole family's got it. We're all down and out.
Sorry to hear that.
Great fun with local boards starting tomorrow too, so I'm going, so. if nothing else, they'll get everything set up for Matt and Vicky and they can go out and start them, I guess.
Yeah. Well, they're capable, they can help, so.
I don't want to.
It helps having good staff, that's for sure.
Yeah,
He's gonna be mad at them, it's like, oh, I'll sacrifice.
Okay, thank you.
yeah, I hear good things about both of them, you know, that, from the people that they've been visiting with in my area, so. Yeah,
It's good.
I wonder Ashley if they're gonna shut down that school in Ashby earlier today. I was hearing rumors of that yesterday. Yeah. So Harvey's sister there, what's her name again? Taylor? Sailor. I gotta remember that. Cause when you call them by their name, then they sort up, you know. And then your other daughter's name? Piper, yeah, I know her. That's what I get her. Right when I see them. So I go eat dinner up there, you know, a lot when I'm working on the ball diamond. So all the younger kids, you know, get to know. Really good. I said, where were you? Last Thursday, and Friday? I was good start in school, I remember. They sat at home for 2 days. It wasn't that bad, but they made a sat at home, coach. I said, well, you should have called your board and told them that. So, oh, yeah.
Hold my taps, I'm done maple syruping,
Oh,
which is fine, cause I was up till about 1 o'clock in the morning, Sunday night, Monday morning finishing,
yeah. Where are you cooking it off at? And then,
just in my yard.
yeah, you got a wood setup or?
No, I bought a pan, but I just used cinder blocks.
Oh, yeah.
So it was not efficient at all.
No. I was out to the Bowman setup a couple times, and they were cooking off on, last Friday I was out there, and, yeah, they had two big cookers going, and they're throwing in, oh, I don't know, 80 gallons sometimes, and it's weird how they're doing it, they got a heaters, a warming bin above the main ones, that what you gotta do? Then
Well,
they
you don't,
trickle it in there so they don't lose their boil.
it's better to do it that way, cause yeah, mine is so inefficient, but I have. And it's hard to see on here. There is. It's a smaller.
Oh, sure.
Preheater up there.
Yeah, but that. So how much did you get cooked on? Did you get,
So I did 40 on a gallon on Sunday,
yeah,
and in total, I probably between 80 and 90. Gallons total.
yeah.
So I had a goal of 2 gallons.
It's not that hot in here, leave the heat up.
I got, I'm gonna go eat some more.
Okay,
I'm cold.
yeah, well,
I turned it up.
well, that's good stuff.
I turned it higher. Oh, yeah.
Well,
Well, evidently it don't work.
2 gallons though.
What
last year
happened?
for the year.
It must not work.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, we don't.
And that's
You know, I'll
like,
give-
hold it.
Guys have trees at Dixon and Glen, so I'll give them some.
Sure,
No, next year I'm hoping to get like up to 10.
yeah. I guess like, Sunday there, the trees were really running out there.
And I was not, I just, it was a last minute thing to do it this year, so I'm assuming there's still a lot of run left, it's just, I don't have time anymore. I gotta,
Yeah, they're pretty, they can read the tree pretty good, I guess, because they said the bags were, in the morning were, there was big drops coming out of the tapper. And those big drops really add up. He goes, well, it's gonna make sense, you know, but, yeah.
Hey, Dwayne, are you still the baseball god up there in Ashby this year?
Yeah, I'm the junior high coach, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just telling Ashley that yesterday my players, they had a little attention problem, so we worked it out of them at the end of practice.
Do they like that or what?
Well,
we'll see if that practice,
yeah,
if they pay attention better or not.
I was at the cage and I was turning around, you know, I had everybody bunting. I said, I want everybody in here bunting five bunts off the machine so you can do it, but I want them coming in and out real quick. And then I want you guys paying attention. And I could hear them back there the whole time. Yap, yap, yap. You guys aren't even paying attention. And, what you gonna run tonight? Well, then it got a little quieter. Then I told them half an hour later, we're gonna run a lot tonight. Yeah, so, cause they lose their train of thought once in a while. They're young, you know,
They're kids.
they're kids.
Yeah.
It appears like the Minnesota Twins have lost their train of thought too. Jeez.
You know what? I think that, it don't matter how bad you get beat, or you can blame it on the pitching, but if you don't score any runs ever, you never, they don't get. You know,
You got 4 runs to win.
that's what I always thought.
Defense wins championships unless you don't have an offense.
Yeah, that's right. So, but, you know, man, if they don't pick it up, I think Baldelli's gonna go down the road. Something's wrong. You know, they claim they have these great offensive players, but gee, Willie Castro's the only one who can hit.
Well, the money they get paid, they should be able to, it shouldn't be the coach and tell them how to hit a goddamn ball.
Oh, I know.
How about these guys that get injured all the time?
Yeah,
Brooks Lee and then,
yeah.
what's his name, Lewis?
Yeah, that's two big, cogs in the wheel there, you know? I mean, yeah, I seen when, Lewis got hurt, you know, that was on TV. He hits his dribbler down the third baseline, he's gonna beat it out, you know, and then he comes up laying hamstring. Probably be out for 4 months, who knows? They don't.
Do they get paid when they're out?
They get paid, yeah. I think they must, the teams must have insurance policies on them though.
The reality of the hamstring, he's done for the year.
Yeah,
Even if he comes back, he ain't gonna work.
no, he ain't gonna dare to push it. So,
That's why I just walk.
well, yeah,
I'll say it again, if you see me running, you wanna run with me.
yeah. Because something bad is
There's something bad coming.
pick it up.
Well, how about New York? They got how many home runs and,
They had 15 the first 3 games.
yeah, they've scored how many?
Now everybody's blaming it on their bats. They got,
Well, yeah, but you still got, the bat's gotta hit the ball.
yeah,
Yeah,
they got to swing the bat to hit the ball.
they're all legal, but they made torpedo bats out of them. They moved, they're skinnier on the top, they moved that thicker part down the trademark into that area. And then they're skinnier from there to there to make it legal.
For weight wise.
Yeah, it's a torpedo bat, but the torpedo is, the bulge is right above, like that.
Is that what you use?
No,
So if they hit it off the end of the bat, will it just break that bat, you think?
well, it just won't go very far.
So if they hit it in the sweet spot.
Oh, yeah, because it's a really hard wood and it's just a bulge, you know, right in.
They enlarged the sweet spot.
Yeah, they did.
And that's obviously legal.
Yeah, it's legal.
They go by weight, I think.
They go by weight. Yep, so. With that Aaron Judge, you know. He didn't do crap in the World Series last year, you know, he kind of blew it actually, but, man,
He's an animal.
yeah, he hit 4 home runs now. I watch videos of his batting instructor, you know, he's 73 years old, that guy. And he's got he's got a style there that a lot of hitting coaches don't like or think works good, but it works good for Judd. And, it's all about, coil and hip rotation and keeping your hands in tight rather than being out here like that. And that old guy, he's 73, but when he shows his videos, he can really crank on them.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be you in a few years.
73,
Yeah,
5 years.
batting practice.
Well, I still get in the cage with those young guys, but I sure wouldn't wanna run though. I can still see the ball pretty good, but I wouldn't wanna have to take off the first base.
Hit it far enough, you don't have to run.
That's true. Or if you strike out, you can walk back to the dugout.
Yep. There's a plus to everything.
So, Kenny, your grandson, is he playing baseball now then?
Yeah.
Spring?
Yeah.
West Central?
Yeah.
Good. They got players?
I don't know how many they have. Well, they finally got a coach for the junior high group.
Who is that?
What's his first name? He'd be a relative of Scott Anderson, the cousin. He's coached younger kids. Is it Hellman? He's a retired guy,
Okay,
but he just loves
yeah.
sports and he goes to softball and baseball games and.
So your grandson, is he like 13 now?
Yeah, I think so.
Is
Yeah.
is he a seventh grader? Or
Eighth grader.
Eighth grader, he's probably 14 then, yeah.
But, West Central never really had a stellar base. They don't have a Dwight Wavani.
Well,
I mean, compared to what, like Ashby and some of these schools, but that PRBA, I mean, that's been a good
Yeah.
deal.
oh, that PRBA is a great deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
The best thing.
yeah,
Even my grandson Troy, I never really seen him hit the ball solid all the way through PRBA, but now he's 13 and got some strength to him and he hits pretty hard in the cage now.
yeah,
I can't believe it's the same kid actually. But, now if we can get him to work on his defense and pay attention, then we'll be in good shape. Cause he's one of my wayward,
The way you guys paid attention yesterday, you don't even need your glove today.
that's right. That's what I should do tonight too.
You leave the bats where they are, leave your glove.
Cause last night there they go, we might not have school tomorrow. Oh, I said, what does that mean? Well, we can't really practice then, if we don't have school, that's a policy. Oh, I go, really?
Gym's open, you can run.
Yeah. But no, I really enjoy watching young kids. I don't care whose team they play for. Cause when they're like in 4th, 5th or 6th grade and they don't say they're not doing much, that don't mean nothing. It's when they get to be 14, 15, 16, 17, 18,
yeah,
they can come on, be
yeah.
the best player. Yeah. Weird how that goes.
It's a fun sport, that's for sure.
Yeah. It's a thinking man sport though.
Reed?
Got a call from the guy from Pope Douglas. They ran a little longer in Stevens County than they were planning for, and then the weather is not helping them any, so. And hopefully be here not too long.
Okay.
But he did send that report and that agreement, Carl did with your board packets. So. It sounds like Stevens County did approve that agreement with them. But this was, the guy's name is Steve from Pope Douglas. It was his request to be on the board and his deal to give us yearly update and talk about how it's going down there in Pope Douglas.
Summarize that at the agreement for us.
So Pope Douglas redid their recycling floor and then they are gonna give us a 1-year deal to charge $58 a ton for recycling. And then that would be less trucking, easier to haul. They would haul, Ingebrigtsen would haul it right from Grant County right to Pope Douglas. Instead of having to go back to Morris, put it in their semi, haul it to Hutch. So they're guaranteeing a price for 1 year and then we kind of decide how much or how little we send there.
a good deal?
Yes and no. It depends how they handle if there's things in recycling that shouldn't be. That was a part of the deal that they discussed at Stevens County. Which I would like Steve to tell all of you how they're gonna do it or what they're gonna do. So. It's,
If you don't know what they're gonna do, or?
they do, and from what, I got Triangle, what's it called, so there you go. It sounds like if it's got garbage in it at a certain, whatever percent that is garbage, they will then charge you the garbage rate. But I don't know what that cutoff is, when all of a sudden now they start charging you. By you, I mean, they charge us, cause we pay Pope Douglas fee, not Engelbrecht.
Engelbert's someone that care what they're gonna bring.
He pays the one for Pope and Douglas when he hauls for them, he pays that fee, not those, it's a little. So when he hauls solid waste there, they can be, sometimes be a little finicky on things that are in garbage that they don't want in there, they don't go down their conveyors or the machines can't do. So then he gets dinged for those, so he's worried they're gonna be just as picky or finicky with some of this recycling stuff. So. There's no,
Troy indicate what percentage of our recycling is garbage.
he doesn't know, but he said, so if you took a 20-yard dumpster, he said maybe a half yard, so not much. But when he hauls it to Hutch, they have repeatedly said that it's some of the cleanest stuff, it has some of the least amount of contaminants or things that shouldn't be in there.
So
So
that would be a half yard out of
20,
20 yards would be like 2.5%.
correct. So I don't know what Pope Douglas is gonna use as their, it's got X percentage, now we have to start. How they're gonna do that, if they're gonna charge you the whole 20-yard as garbage. Or just the piece they pick out, or how they do that, that's not in there. The other piece at the very end, it has Greg signing it, I would prefer you guys sign that, not Greg or I, unless you don't care, then we can sign it, but. It just seems more like a board sign than a Greg sign. To me.
So what historically has our cost per ton been when we send it down to the cloud count?
Last year was 63, this year was 65, so we would save $7-ish a ton. And then we would save $1,000 a month to Stevens County, because then they don't have to be our drop site and then haul it. So it'd be a good little, figure the $12,000 a year from the 12 months going to Stevens, and then another $3,000 and cause $7 per ton, and we haul
Well, we
250 tons or whatever,
save
trucking-
$7 a ton this year.
yeah. Then what it is next year and the following years gets to be how they're gonna handle that.
Right.
They're hoping to keep the price relatively similar to Hutch or close,
Wow.
cause then it cuts on trucking and does that.
$58 a ton.
Yeah.
For this year, what is their proposed
They don't know.
profit or loss?
That I don't, that's a C one, yep.
Cause that would tell me a lot, I mean, if they're proposing to break even.
There's a lot of floating on what it's gonna be, cause if they have to jack it up to be close to what you pay for solid waste per ton, then we will just keep going to Hutch, cause it doesn't cost us that and they're not finicky. But if it works to send it to Pope Douglas, that is actually much closer, much easier in trucking, much better for us if we can, but there's just some deals there to figure out if it goes.
What about the 70,374?
That's the total amount that we committed last year, pay. For that agreement.
Is that in addition to the $58?
No, yeah, the 58 a ton is how many tons of recycling we haul there. This is their agreement for them to buy that recycling piece of equipment. That they will have up and running come May. So they went to the 5 counties, us, Stevens, and then Tri-County, which is. I can't remember the 3, Benton, Sherburne, and what's the third one?
We already paid that once?
No, we have not paid it at all. Last year, they came and sat down here and did their spiel again. And you guys agreed to pay that over 5 years if the amount didn't change, and it didn't. Stearns is the other county. And now this is him coming with the actual agreement to pay that, because now they have the piece of equipment purchased or purchasing it and installing it.
That's not an annual payment.
No, it'll just be for a 5-year deal,
Well,
then
yeah,
it'll go.
14 for 5 years.
14 for 5 is the annual, but after the 70 grand is paid, then that's done.
Okay.
The 58 a ton for 1 year is where we're kind of. That would be the first year. And nowhere in there does it say like a percentage or tonnage of, or how much of our recycling has to go there. So the kind of the idea is send a load or 2 loads or 3 and see what kind of feedback we get. Before
Well,
we go,
And I'm betting
Much-
Troy knows that this recycling is typically cleaner.
correct. But some of the drop sites, especially the ones, out in the country, sometimes do get some more than in town, or some of the ones in town get full of things that shouldn't be in there. But it's, sometimes they can pull them out. Troy does his best to pull some of that stuff out when they dump it, but you can't catch everything.
What usually, I mean, do they actually have garbage bags, or is there certain items that you?
Yesterday I pulled out a space heater, a little tiny portable heater thing, a computer out of it last night when I threw some stuff in there. That people just dumped in the one town here.
In the recyclable?
Correct. Or sometimes people, the other kicker was if people put their recycling in the bags and just throw the bags in there. It didn't sound like Pope Douglas was gonna get too worked on that one. They were okay with that. They could handle that part. So that was Troy's other question. Otherwise, other times they've thrown big, long, like egg plastic sheets that they wrap bail in, or otherwise all kinds of stuff, styrofoam. In the cardboard, styrofoam always seems to be an issue, because people don't pull it out of the box. So, or the plastic wrappers or whatever else comes in it, so. You're never gonna get 100% clean, whatever you wanna call it, but
Wish recycling, people wished it was
Yeah.
recyclable, so they just put it in there.
so, there's always some degree of sort and some degree of contaminant.
Did you say you weren't sure on if it's contaminated, if they were gonna charge us?
I don't know what they're gonna do, how they're gonna handle that, that's the question for Steve. He was asked the same one this morning, so he should. I don't know that's coming, but
It doesn't address that in the contract.
it does not,
Does it need to?
no. I'm not sure it addresses how now, if we have, say, a crib mattress or something in our solid waste, they can ding us for whatever their dollar amount, it's $100 a mattress. But that's not in our solid waste, that we have with them right now, so. It's kind of a worse piece, you can either put it in there or not, but every time that changes, you change the agreement then, so. This is a 1 year deal, so we can see what they got.
You talked about the 1 year, is that? A little bit normal, or are they looking at wanting it to only be that for a I mean, if we've.
I'm guessing the
$40,000 a year over.
Yeah.
5 years, and they only want a 1 year, they think that 58's gonna go up?
I think they want the 1 year because they're not quite sure how counties are gonna send it and how much it's gonna cost them. I think they're still I think they have an idea, but not want enough, they wanna roll the dice on multiple years. I think come next year or the year after, they'll have, a 3 year, a 5 or a 10. Our solid waste one was a 10, it was a 21 to 31 contract. So. And I would assume come 2031, they'll probably try and roll them into one agreement, solid waste recycling agreement. So. That would be my assumption. 1 year, I think allows counties to do kind of like a trial. If they like it, they like it, if they don't, they're not locked in for multiple years.
Good. Except for that.
Yeah, they're over the summer.
That's not like-
Over the coast here. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I'm guessing with the roads like this, their little trip from Morris might be a little slower than 60, huh?
Plus, when Troy called, they were just walking out the door, so.
Oh.
He called that before I came in.
That road's pretty flat and straight.
Yeah, it's
You
pretty.
don't have to worry about turning until you get to 27, you start slowing down.
Yeah, she's a.
We're gonna turn to the debate.
I would kind of maybe do that too.
We should order pizza.
So I had Carl put us on as late as possible.
That tastes pretty good right now.
If you like pizza,
Go get a breakfast pizza.
Or if you don't.
Yeah.
He doesn't, Doyle doesn't like fish, doesn't like eat ducks.
what's the matter with just plain old beef?
Nothing.
Mashed potatoes.
Yeah, gravy, yeah.
Corn.
Been by the arch up there, Greg?
The last couple days have gone the other way, but, you know, one interesting thing I've never seen before is Pelican Lake is wide open and Christina wasn't.
Yeah.
Never seen that ever.
Yeah, I don't, you wonder what, the wind or,
You're not
I've
weird.
never seen it,
Yeah, pretty weird.
but I haven't seen that many divers in the arch. Definitely gotta be some say.
Oh, gosh, yeah, yeah,
I was
that's- yeah.
A lot of school before I ever ate
Yeah.
pizza.
It was,
You didn't have
Took
pizza in school?
a few ganders there, pulled over and
Maybe they didn't have.
watched as the ice got bigger and bigger, that
When you never had pizza in school, maybe they didn't have it back
Then
then.
maybe they didn't provide
Yeah,
lunch
Then
then.
my,
We never had
up
pizza
in
in
Thompson
school.
Lake, did
No,
the
I don't
Quan
think it
Church,
gets
I've been
valid.
working for 5 years.
We had
to clean
pizza
that
for
water.
the square, Herman, didn't he?
Yeah, and, oops, the bullheads now are. They're not in there too much anymore, the water's real clear. And then last fall.
Just get out of the way.
Can I sit over there?
Take care of it.
Right.
Just
You wanna sit,
Now
do
this
switch
spring,
spots?
Just take care of it. I'm out of the way.
Bluebills in there.
I'm not gonna pick on somebody older than me.
That walleye guy, you know, he
Well,
puts the
again,
walleyes in there.
take care of it.
It's been a 3-year carryover now.
Okay,
I think I just did.
Okay,
right.
I take it back.
Walleyes
Yeah,
probably
it doesn't
not
matter.
they're not or eating bullhead.
He didn't.
I won't.
Okay.
You wouldn't?
I,
Oh, jeez.
He didn't.
I said what I said.
about 10 years ago, I
Don't
told.
point, it's not
Yeah,
polite.
okay, over the DNR.
Hi there.
What can we do here?
Major in the fun weather.
Yeah, I did. I apologize. I went a little long and then, yeah, weather was interesting.
Well, I'm impressed, you got here pretty quick.
Guys, I'm just gonna let you go and do your deal.
Okay, well, good morning, Mr. Chair and Board. Here just to kind of follow up, about a year ago. Grant County approved, basically some financial support of some equipment going in at Pope Douglas. We're in the middle, in week 8 of a 10-week installation outage. So we will be starting up, and taking some material. I did talk with Ingebrigtsens. It'll probably be May by the time we're ready to accept material. But basically, sent just something to codify our agreement that at about a year ago, Grant County, agreed to kind of support us getting some equipment, but, there was never really like a grant agreement. So I've just, sent a kind of a standard boilerplate grant agreement, that stipulates just saying you're giving us money over 5 years. The amount, with the understanding Pope Douglas will take single sort material for 1 year at $58 a ton. We don't have the final, there's a hauler agreement that will go with that, basically if there's contamination or other things. Troy's kind of familiar with that, we gotta work out some details. But basically one of my main reasons is to kind of, get approval for the grant agreement, and then also, annually, we talk about how things are going, and I did include an annual report. And if there were any questions, just kind of on how, that's kind of the year-end report from Pope Douglas at the end of 2024.
Got a question, Steve. Did the respective counties that were in that list all agree like we did? So the project is funded?
The project is funded, the counties, so Tri-County, basically, Stearns, Sherburne and Benton, did not, think that it was in their best interest to use their score dollars to support this project. So, Pope Douglas borrowed additional funds, with our last bonding round. So I guess the main advantage is, you do get preferential treatment for 1 year for the tipping fee. As well as, quite honestly, if we didn't have the support, this may not happen at all, and there wouldn't be a local single sort facility. Also, longer term for, you know, and I basically, because of the timing, I had to go county by county. And the agreement to that time was you're in or not in, you know, that as long as the equipment happens, that was, it wasn't a joint powers where everybody had to be in to move forward. So basically Pope Douglas picked up the difference. We did apply, so, and we did get some grants, from the Carton Council and some other to fill in the gap, so it was a smaller gap, to purchase some of the equipment.
And which two did not?
So 3, Tri-County, Stearns, Benton, and Sherburne chose to not, it was, they wanted me to go to the Tri-County board first. And they didn't give me approval to go to individual counties. They basically, said that they had better things to do with their score dollars than this project.
So will they get the benefit of the facility?
When they bring garbage in, so
How about recycling?
currently, we're not looking to receive any single sort recycling from those counties. And if they do, it'd be at a higher rate. So, and just in general, our capacity is pretty much Grant, Stevens, Pope, and Douglas is, at least for the first couple of years. If things go well or we add another shift, there, you know, there may be some opportunities, but it was really, we're kind of at an edge to make a decision one way or the other, and this is where we ended up. I didn't bring everything. This equipment's being installed right now, about $7 million worth of equipment. We tore everything out in about a week. And then, we've been shut down. We are still taking garbage. It goes right to our pit, unsorted. So that's one item that's affected. We didn't run as many tons in 2024, just dealing with construction. So we built our whole new tipping floor and processing facility while we kept the existing plant built or running. And then this is our longest outage right now, is because at some point we had to rip out all of the existing equipment, bare floor, and bring in the new equipment, and that's kind of where we're in. We're gonna start bumping motors on Monday, so installation is going pretty well. We hope to get general operation middle of April. Start taking some loads, test loads, end of April, beginning of May. And then there is a 1 year, so the grant kind of stipulates kind of whenever we can take regular delivery. So if that's not until May 15th or June, we would obviously do, you know, 1 year from whenever we're regularly, you know, not rejecting loads or just, you know, kind of testing when it's actual, taking full loads. It'd be a year contract for an agreed upon rate. So, yeah, so my main deal today is if you'd had a chance to look at the contract, but basically just looking to codify the terms. It's, just talks about what the expectations are between the two parties. It's basically over 5 years, that, Pope Douglas would receive over that term $70,000 at a rate of about $14,000 a year. And then typically we would submit an invoice and get paid about the 15th of this month, is what we're April. Yeah. April 1st. April 15th of each month would be for the next 5 years, 5-year term. And that basically, working together as a partnership, we got a single sort facility built and funded, and we will continue to take your single sort material. Troy currently brings it to Hutchinson, which then goes to, I believe, mostly Demcon. So in this area, this allows us to kind of focus our recycling efforts on kind of what's local. Also, it changes the profit sector. If you're sending loose recyclables, it's a cost. The materials we're going to consolidate and bale, and then it's a profit center. So we're keeping some of that within our local county area.
What if some of this is contaminated?
And I
Plan for that.
Yep, so we will still take it if there's bags, so our system, because it does process garbage and single sort, we're less susceptible. Some of the plants, if they get bags at all, it causes significant issues. Obviously, we're processing garbage, so our equipment is designed for that. It's really depending on the percentage. Typical single sort can be up to about 20% contamination. That's an expectation. If it gets 30 or 40%, you know, we would obviously start with communication, working with, and we can sample the material. You know, we have cameras, we watch it dumped on the floor. We typically do a thin spread. It's usually fairly easy to see. You open a couple bags and the bags that are there, if it's garbage or recycling. We do occasionally get people that their recycle can or garbage can's full and they throw garbage in their recycle can, you know, and so that's information we'll get back to our Grant County partners just for education, working with Troy. But again, we'll take the material. What we've seen is if it's over 50%, we have to take it as garbage. We would then charge that rate as garbage. We would still do the recycling, and you would see that, but it wouldn't be in terms of collected single sort or curbside, it would be contaminated and it would be considered garbage.
Would it be 50% or the 100?
Basically at about 50, well, the way we would do it, we have to do the whole ticket. So if it's contaminated, if it's above 50%, it's really no longer recycling anymore. It's garbage.
It's all garbage.
Correct.
So that whole load would go?
It would get charged with the tipping fee as garbage if it's above 50%. So, and again, we'll work out that contract with your hauler. We'll include you in on that. We're still working out all the details. I've been busy getting the plant up and running, so I haven't gotten that final contract out. We have a template, some sketches, and so we'll get that out to Ingebrigtsens and your counties, just so you'll know how that goes. My understanding is the hauler would actually sign the contract. It's up to them. You know, because they're the one bringing it in, they're the one that pays us, and I think you pay them, is how it works for Grant. For single sort.
We pay them to haul it, but we end up paying you guys, or we pay Hutchinson directly.
Okay, so we'll figure that out on that contract. That's, it's by county, so I wasn't sure
Yeah,
specifically with Grant.
Granny kind of handles it a little different.
I got a question for you. So when that load comes in, where does it get inspected to see if it's contaminated?
So we have two tipping floors with our new facility. One's for garbage and one single sort. So, our total number of trucks for single sort smaller. So we basically, it hits our floor, we spread it out and we take a look at it. I believe most of your material is coming in packers, so directly from your sites. I believe Stevens is gonna come in, get consolidated, and be brought in by semi-load. From the Ingebrigtsens transfer station. So obviously, if he's got different information, we're gonna look at that. I think, there's contracts and then there's working together. We're gonna do everything we can. If that's, good recycled material, our first thing would be, hey, how can we make it, clean it up, get a little bit better? If there's no progress, that's when we would start, to move forward, with fines. It's just, again, working county to county, it's working together to recycle that material. And just in general, like I said, our equipment, it's all designed to handle garbage. So, we will still process the material. It just depends on how much work we have to do. It's a lot more work to pull recyclables out of garbage than it is out of single sort. So that's kind of where that pricing, difference, it would go from, the $58, to whatever the MSW tipping fee would be basically to cover our cost because it is so contaminated.
Did I hear you say the word fines? Is the fines the difference in the 58 to the tipping fee, or is that in addition to the?
No, it wouldn't be. It would be, the worst case would be the tipping fee would go to solid waste. We're still working out the basically, within a range of say 20 to 30%, it's.
No, but you said fines. Is the fines the difference in the tipping fee, or is there another fine over and above?
Yep, and it would be the bridge between. If it's $58, let's say it's 40% garbage, it might be $68 a ton. We're still gonna call it recycling. It just depends. Quite honestly, we're new to this, so it depends on how much time we're gonna inspect it. And so if it looks like recycling, it's gonna be recycling. There's not gonna be a fee.
Let me ask you again.
I suppose it
You
also
said
depends
fines.
what is in that.
Referencing the difference in the tipping fee, yes or no? Or is there an additional fine?
There's not an additional fine.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it would be, if it's recycling, but not to the extent of a tipping fee of garbage.
Yeah.
Our current agreement would be allowing for some fines
Yeah.
in that range. So the maximum would be accepting it as garbage. So, nope, I tried to,
Well, the terminology of fines, to me, it kind of raised a red flag, and I just want to make sure I was hearing what you were.
I was just trying to bridge the two, this rate and this rate. If there would be any fine, it would be somewhere in between, but not ever above what the current tipping fee is for garbage.
I got a question for you. Okay, so Grant County's recycling is gonna get picked up here and go right to you guys.
Yep,
Stevens County, they pick it up and they transfer it into semi? Is that what you're saying?
yep,
Do will they pick up, will they be seeing some of that garbage in if there's some bad stuff down there before they bring it to you?
See, so Troy traditionally picks right now, when it gets dumped on the floor, they pick out anything that they see. They're pulling out whatever stuff is in it that shouldn't be.
Troy does.
Yeah.
Down there.
They do their, but you can't get everything. They just do their best to get as much as they can.
But Grant County's going into his truck and going to.
Correct, but what they'll do too is they always, before they grab on and hook it and take it, they open the bin and look and see if they can see anything on the top or under to pull, and then if there is, they'll pull it.
yep, and again, it's, we'll try to locate it to a specific truck or a route. So our point isn't, we've dealt with some places where they're not gonna do anything different, and the only thing is a financial signal. So, our intent is to get information back literally for months. And if, you know, the behavior doesn't change, you know, at some point, we would send a pricing signal.
That's why I've seen, you know, the recycling bins in Ashby once in a while, they don't dump them. That truck driver's looking at that, I think.
Sometimes, yep,
He's not
they got
picking
too
it
much
up,
stuff they pull.
Cause it
It
got,
might end up being a little bit of an educational campaign that we got coming here too.
yeah,
That we do have to tighten up, or that's not gonna,
yeah.
the cost is gonna be increased. We just need to recognize that.
Right, and just in general partnership, organics, you know, similar deal, there's a delivery contract, if the organics are contaminated above a certain level, there's a fine, or we can even reject the load. And that's been worked, I think, very well. I think there's been very minimal over the couple of years that we've been doing that. I think it's been mostly education, giving some information, and as far as I know, I don't think we charge Grant a fine based on contamination levels. So again, similar, it's just, it's basically in that final contract, needs to be, if the material isn't what we all expect, that, you know, there's some way to drive that.
Like the last step, driver.
Correct.
But at least you know where that truck has been and, you know, you can pinpoint a little bit of that.
Correct, and so we have cameras on our tipping floor, you know, we will have tickets, you know, we'll say this specific load. And then we don't know where that load came from, but we would get that information back to your solid waste officers and, you know, try to get that right to that customer. Cause or else it kind of affects everybody. So exactly, our job is to get it back to whichever customer is in, or area, you know, if it's by city, to get that information back to them.
So when you came up with that $58 a ton rate, did you figure 25% was gonna be contaminated for garbage roughly?
Correct, it's about 20% is kind of typical, and in terms of that, it's material that people think is recyclable. It's, you know, not necessarily garbage, but it might be black plastic or other things that aren't readily recyclable, so that's in that 20 to 25%. But yes, that number's assuming about 20 to 25% is getting separated out in our system, not going to commodities, and would go over to our waste energy side.
Then is that based on an expected tons of recycling?
The rate,
Well, right, so I mean, cause you're gonna resell those recyclables, right?
correct.
So did you base that on getting 100 tons a year, or, I mean, is there an amount you need to get? And I'm not thinking of next, I know you said $58 for next year, but
Yep.
let's talk years beyond, cause it's a big difference between, let's say, 58 or 78. Was there an amount of recycling that you will need to keep that price?
Our operations aren't depending on, so our general plan is to run 4 days a week on garbage. And then we clean the materials out, we change a few bins, and then we start up on single sort. So between the general plan is, we know we can get Pope and Douglas as our base. With this agreement, we have Grant and Stevens, which is about what we think we can handle initially with our processing operations, so it's built on that. And kind of what we're doing is we're covering our operational costs. So whether we get all of our recyclables and the commodities can vary by almost 100% a year, or 50, double or be half of what they were the previous year. Both aluminum, paper, commodity prices are all over the board. So it's really tough to build that into a contract. Basically, that's kind of our margin, is where those, where those commodities sit. So we're mostly paying you what we think it costs us to process that material. So until we get some operational data, we base that what it takes us to process garbage and some estimates on what it's gonna take, basically hours, manpower, electricity to process it. So we're hoping to hold that number. Again, if that number goes up, we're gonna share with you, here's our operating costs, here where's the numbers came from. That's our plan. So I don't know that we'll be able to hold, 65, it's already a year old. Or 58, I'm sorry. 58. We're initially, our published rate is gonna be 65 is kind of where we're at. And then yours is discounted, but that's what we're taking new tons from other haulers that aren't in the agreement.
We need to approve the contract for the,
I would like that, yeah, if you guys could just approve the actual signing of it and paying out of it, since it was kind of approved before, but that was before numbers were final, and now we have a
the
contract
plan
number.
approved.
Yes, the idea was approved, but now you have an actual plan ahead.
I'll
So,
make a motion to approve that contract of the 5 annual payments.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion, any other discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Carried.
Thanks for your time. Appreciate the support and working together. And just general information, I'm thinking we may do it through your solid waste group. But we're working with Tri-County. Also, the contract ends in 2031. And just in terms of counties and contracts, it isn't that far away. And just one of the main concerns is our net cost of operations, basically looking at all our costs divided by our tons, on average is significantly higher than what our current tipping fee is. So we're working to figure that out. Obviously, we can't work at a loss. We're gonna honor our current contract. But, just to give you a heads up, we're working through that with Tri-County. Just they're one of the larger total tons. And also just looking for commitment. Sherburne actually asked if there are additional tons. So as we're looking at this, if counties want, to be in, just kind of understanding, just an agreement that, yep, Grant is looking to be in, depending on pricing, everything. But you just, again, trying to meet with all the boards from 7 different counties, but, eventually by 2031 or, before that, to get a contract in place. So just something to think about is, are things working in general okay? Depending where that pricing is, are you interested in continuing to be a partner? That's something we're gonna ask and, to renew that, what does that contract look like? We're looking for 15 years. Just because it takes 2 or 3 years every time we do this, as you get the term really short, you basically end up, working through. And that's where, our current process is, we have an accounting sheet based off of our net cost of operations, present that. And that's how we present, well, what did it actually cost per ton? There are things, Tri-County brings up, well, do we control when you get to buy a truck or new capital? So there are things on there that are based on trust and how that works. We think we run a pretty efficient facility. Currently Perham is about $130 a ton. Ours is over $100 a ton as our net cost of operations. And we're still, the current charge rate is 97. But waste energy is more expensive than landfilling. When we did do our market analysis, we are competitive. For Pope Douglas, if we weren't there, if we put everything into a transfer station, shipped it to either, a Minnesota landfill, it would be on, within 5% of what our waste energy would be. So just kind of looking at when we do a market index of the, general area, just because of shipping and other costs, it's, we're close. We're not, we're probably never gonna be cheaper than a landfill, but we are at least competitive, so.
Good question. Since I represent the Hoffman area, very likely drink the water that's underneath your site. Can we assume that if the reports, because they're quite comprehensive, and I'm not assuming that our staff aren't analyzing, but if there was any issues, would you have direct communications with our people to let us know?
Absolutely, and I believe someone on the Grant Water gets our annual reports as well.
Yep, traditionally the district has got it, so Brent will now be getting those, but Brent usually, the district ends up sharing with us, or we reach out to them and get them directly too.
Yeah, with
Like I
more,
say that,
Yeah.
I've looked at it and it's quite comprehensive.
Yep.
And you almost need to be a chemist or a something. So I guess my question is, going on 25, 30 years old, and to ensure that, and to have the understanding that you would alert us if there was an issue, that we didn't have to find it in the paper.
Sure.
In the 50 pages or
Nope,
whatever it is.
yeah, fair question, absolutely. So, we have one of the most, double safe. There's 2 liners in our landfill with a collection space. So we do test that. So the MPCA requires, our level. We do sample wells all the way around. One of the biggest things is PFAS, and obviously that comes in the garbage. Coming in, the waste energy facilities, there was a concern of if they get hot enough to actually break those down. We've done some testing and the amount of PFAS in our ash and that goes out the stack is significantly smaller. It's not zero. So we do break that down. So that's one of the most current issues. So those are driving some considerations, but yeah, absolutely. We share, just if there's general information, if the MPCA sees something, our data goes to a hydrologist at the state. We hire a hydrologist. If there's a concern, if we think there's a local issue, in the ground or dirt around our facility, we would absolutely share that.
So you're monitoring the interstitial space, you've got that in all of your.
We do, yep, it's called a liner, so
Yep.
And basically all landfills, when you get your permit, they aren't considered to be 100%. They need to be 99 point whatever, so if you figure that out, a small amount leaks into that interstitial space, so we pump that, we monitor that, we measure how many gallons, and then, then there's another layer with clay below that. And then, so in addition to that, we do sample wells around it, so if it did get through all that and into the wells, we would see some spikes. It's sort of interesting, just at that well, there is some natural arsenic, there's some other stuff that's in the groundwater, but it's actually, the stuff they're worried about often has a higher concentration upstream than it is downstream of our facility. So there are things that aren't typically in a landfill, but there are some spikes. And so anyway, that's part of the chemistry there, that there's a bunch of stuff that happens anytime you dig a hole, the chemistry changes a little bit, whether it's leaking or not.
So kind of changing gears, it's a waste of energy, so is it the hospital,
Mostly 3M is our largest customer.
Okay.
It is. So we do make electricity, but because of wholesale versus retail rates, we mostly do net metering. So most of our electricity powers our own plant. And just the net cost per BTU, we make almost 3 times as much revenue selling it as steam as we do electricity, even at the retail rate. So basically we make about $1 million a year that offsets our tipping fee through the sales mostly of steam.
but you're not worried about that changing where your clients would, we talk about beyond 2031. Are you in any way worried about those clients going somewhere away from steam?
No, for at least 3M, they need thermal energy to make their sandpaper. So, the hospital's heat, obviously, if they had it, that we are cheaper than natural gas, so that, which is why they buy us. So those, that will be there. There have been some facilities, like, let's say a cheese place goes out of business. As far as we know, we're in 3M's global package, portfolio, because they like to avoid landfilling. And nationally, we are considered a renewable energy source, and waste energy is a good thing. So it fits their national portfolio as well. So, that's actually a success story. They had a plant in Brazil that they actually brought up, and put in that facility in, early 2009, 2010, because they had, renewable steam to run that as part of their global portfolio. So there's always an option there, you know, who knows with litigation, everything else. But I would say as long as 3M's around, we're gonna have a, you know, as a company, we're gonna have a steam customer there. And we do have the ability to make electricity. It's just, so again, tipping fee, you know, if you look at $11-12 million kind of cash flow, you lose $1 million of that and, you know, change it to energy at a third of that. Well, you know, we're still there, but obviously those would all affect what our tip fee would be. We would still be in business, even, we do have turbine capacity to turn all of our steam to electricity if it makes sense. We actually make more money if our turbines never run, even to replace our own electricity. If we can sell everything, we actually make, slightly better revenue because of that spread between electric and steam, BTU sales. So, yeah, so I guess, you know, that was, I don't know if you saw the annual report or if you know, there's a bunch of numbers in there, just kind of showing what's up. Sometime in May or June, again, just whether it's a solid waste group or the whole, board, we're kind of, it's a pretty cool facility to come see what we're doing. We'll be up and running, middle of this month, should have the bugs worked out by May 1st. So sometime after that, and like I said, appreciate the partnership and you guys help get us some of that equipment that's making it run well, so.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Nothing, I don't have much, other than just, you know, I brought up at the annual, township meeting that we did the review of all the, shoreline and the river system in the county for buffer compliance. So we're working with the Soil and Water on that, you guys, to get that out the door. We got a few that'll get some letters, so just so you're aware. So we'll try to, if it starts to ramp up, we'll keep whatever district it's in. We'll let you guys know as if it's in your district. So, other than that, I don't know if there's any. I guess the other thing we talked about was the last board meeting. You guys talked about having a strategic planning meeting to talk about vehicles. So maybe we could have that conversation. We need to sit down and visit about that. Construction season's getting close here now, and we're already getting thin on vehicles some days, so tearing around, so maybe get that resolved before it gets too ramped up in the summer here. And that, nothing. But I think it would be pretty interesting to go over and see that facility once it's up. And I don't know. That is yeah, I mean, I know we talked about it internally about the committee, but it might not even be a bad deal where you publish in the paper and everybody go, you know, so it's like a board.
I would like to see it.
Because the garbage thing isn't gonna go away. This is, you know, I wouldn't put it at the same level as human services, but garbage is big business. So.
Yeah, for the mob.
Yeah. Well, there it is, yeah. Yeah. I'll give it that. Good plan.
Anybody got anything else?
No.
You sure?
Building committee on here, committee report about approving a bid for landscaping and grass seeding around the LEC.
Do we have a big bid?
To go out for bids,
Oh, to go out.
to
Oh,
go out for bids.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Anything anymore now? We'll adjourn at 11:02. 11:02,
Can you make sure Billy gets this here?
Sure.
You'll need that.
like delivered this afternoon.
Maybe run it out till this noon.
No. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Alright.
You gonna go eat something before you go home?